This would be your next one. I can write linear equations given, and you might as well keep your scissors out because we're just going to finish putting in the rest of the linear function notes. You're not going to be doing them, but they'll be in your notebook ready to go when I start on them again on Monday. Can you write an equation given slope and y-intercept? Slope and intercept. I wonder which formula I would use. Bailey, you got one? What do you got? So we're thinking of slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. I have the slope, I have the y-intercept, so y equals the slope, x, don't forget your x, 1/3 x, minus 5. All right, how about writing an equation in standard form? So they want standard form, they're telling you that. Given a point and a slope. What did they give us to start with? Which formula is going to be easiest based on what they gave us? Point slope. If they're giving me a point and they're giving me slope, I might as well start with point slope. So y minus 4, what am I going to put? Plus 4. Y is negative, so that's a double negative. Y minus 4 would be y plus 4 equals my negative 3/2 slope. And then x what? X plus 4 or x minus 4? X plus 4 for those double negatives. So I am going to have to simplify this. I will start with the distributive property. Y plus 4 equals negative 3/2 x. I wonder what the second part's going to be. Negative 6. We have 4 in the numerator, 2 in the denominator, cross cancel. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice, and you're left with negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. What is standard form? We want to see x and y on the same side. We don't want our x to be negative. You can't have fractions either with your a. Your a has to be positive and no fractions. So I see my a is negative on this side. That forces me right off the bat to want to put my x on the left and put my number on the right. So added 3/2 x, added 3/2 x, plus y. And now I'm shifting negative 4 to the other side, which would be negative 10. So you've pretty much got full credit right here. It would be very minor for me to have to take off because your a is a fraction, but you got the right idea that your a, your x and your y belong together. Your a needs to be positive. We're going to be doing this a lot in Algebra 2, which would be clearing fractions. How many people like to work with fractions? Okay, so that's why we like to clear fractions and clear decimals. How do I clear fractions? I multiply by the common denominator. What's the common denominator for all of these? 2. It's the only denominator that's there. So I'm going to multiply the entire equation by the common denominator. If there's one denominator, then it's that denominator. If it's 2 denominators, I got to find the common denominator. If it's 3 denominators, and so on. So how many times am I going to multiply by 2? That's right, it'd be just like the distributive property. There are 3 terms that need to be multiplied by 2. On the first one, if I've done it correctly, they're going to cancel. I have a 2 in the numerator and a 2 in the denominator. When those cancel, what's left? 3x. And now I need to multiply that 2 to the y. 2 times y is 2y equals 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. Now this is A plus standard form. All right, can you write an equation given a graph? Is there anything useful about the graph? Yes, 2 points. Is there one on there right now that's going to be really helpful to me? Because I can pick any 2 points. The y-intercept would be perfect, which is at -1. So I could be thinking about this formula, mx plus b, and I already know that b is -1. I just need my slope. So I'm looking for a point that's exactly in a corner of a box. Rise 2 and run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rise 2 and run negative 5. Y equals negative 2/5 x minus 1. We've been working on point slope. Just going to substitute in those values. Y is 3, my slope is negative 3, and x is negative 1. And then finish the last one. Find a line, it doesn't say which form to have it in, given 2 points. So depending on which point we pick, both the answers are up there. Okay, let me go into Desmos graphing calculator. And you would go up here where the plus sign is and go to image. And that's how you import an image into Desmos. Up here in the wrench, there's settings up here, like for instance, I'm not crazy about having minor grid lines on, and I like my steps going by 1. Some students had an issue with trying to restrict their domain and range because their numbers were so big they didn't realize how far out they actually were. I just started by saying, okay, I want to do this line, so I'm going to look at the slope first. One thing that you should know about slope is that when you're at a 45-degree angle line in quadrant 1, when you're at a 45-degree angle line, that's slope 1. So if I'm in quadrant 2 and I'm looking for the 45-degree angle line, that would be a slope of negative 1. So it's good to be able to gauge from 1, do I need it to be steeper or less than 1? On this one, I would just start by saying, okay, y equals, I need to pick a slope for this line. Let's say I say just x. I'll just start with x. X, y equals x. Well, not even going in the right direction. That's a positive line. This is a negative line. Negative. All right. My line needs to be more steep. So I'm going to make a steeper slope. 3. I'm looking for it to be parallel to that line. Try 4. Get in there. Try 5. 5 is pretty good. That looks parallel to that line. Then after that point, I would worry about my y-intercept. Like I'm looking, where's the y-intercept? It's way down here between negative 7 and 8 somewhere. So if I put negative 5x now that it's parallel, and I do negative 8, 7.9. I mean, you really get into decimals here to move it around. That's right on that line. And so that's not too bad. The problem here now is I need to restrict the domain because it's running off the picture. So start with that first. Start with trying to get an equation of a line to land somewhere on your picture. She's like, I want to shift my line. I want to shift this line completely to the right. Well, I said, well, think about point slope then. Put your x in parentheses, close your x, and go in there, and you could put minus 3. And now it's been shifted right here to minus 3. I could put minus 9, and it shifted it over completely because I'm thinking about point slope. The x is in parentheses, and that's how you're shifting left or right. So now, looking at, we need to restrict the domain. So here's my picture, and if I go down to the x-axis, I can see that my domain has to be restricted somewhere around negative 3.1. It starts there to cut it off. So that's going to be my first number. You look on your picture all the way to the left and go to the end of the picture and then go down to the x-axis. We're looking for that domain number. Pick a number, and again, you can readjust it the same way you did your slope and your y-intercept. You need a squiggly bracket, which is up above, return, over to the left a little bit. You need to have an open squiggly bracket. And I'm going to say negative 3.1. And your picture goes away. So put less than x, which is less than, and I'm just going to put a random number in there. I'm going to say 5, just so my picture shows back up again. If I zoom out, I still have some down here. My top looks okay, not too bad. So I've really got to fix this number down here. I need to find out, where do I need to be stopping? I would say just about at x is going to be pretty close to 0. So we restricted the x values. X is going from 0 to negative 3.1 for myself. There's only one other thing the other class did not do yet that everybody needs to do, and that is to put an equation of a line on that line so that this equation, not the restriction, just the equation is over here. I'm going to highlight my equation, not the restriction, copy it, and then I need to remember how to do this. Let's see. If I put a point on this line somewheres, I'm going to pick a point on my line. I want the equation to be up here, so I'm just going to say like negative 3.7. And it makes a point show up. We're going to label it. And that's where I'm going to paste my equation of my line in there. So I picked a point that was on my line. I want to label it as that line that I copied up here. Then what I would like to do is I can shut that purple point off by clicking on it, shut it off, and that point's not there, right? You don't want the point there. But another thing I'm going to do is change that color, make it the same color as the line, and then I'm going to shut it off. So I just turned the line on, I held down the point, it showed me the colors that are over here, and then I shut it back off once I had the color that I wanted. The last thing that I'd like to do is to go into the wrench settings, and you can have it to the left, to the right, above, below. I was hoping it was going to turn it. I don't really like that, so I guess I'm going to keep it that way. Probably make it large. And then decide, do I want it on the left, on the right, below, wherever you think that you want to have. I mean, this is your design. I'm just showing you some tricks. But I am looking for all 4 lines, and I'm looking for the equation of the line to be with the line. Everything else is your choice of design. You can have one picture that has all 4 lines in it. That way you can just shut off this equation. And how would I shut this off? I guess I'd have to unlabel it. Then I would start another equation of a line that's in here. Or what you can do is I'm going to create a folder, and that folder I'm going to move to the top. I'm going to put my image in that folder. Remember, you get that line right there that shows up. There's the line that shows up when you have a folder, and I'm going to put the equation that goes with that in that folder. So everything is in one folder. When I close the folder, it shuts all that off. Then I can create another folder for my next picture. Like you're keeping your pictures together in a folder. I could have a second folder, and I could say that this is positive slope payment. And then I could upload a second picture in here. So it's a way to keep yourself organized in Desmos. You can use a folder, put all of the things that go with that image. Oh no, there it is. Put all those things that go with that image in the same folder. Now I wonder if I shut the folder and shut off the image, it shuts everything off. That's pretty cool. So it's all on. If I want to shut off the image and everything in there, I can just shut the folder off, and it shuts off all the pictures, and I can start over with a different picture. Again, I'm going to be very lenient on this assignment because it's the first one that we're doing this year. We do more I SPY maths with other functions that we use. So right now we're trying to get used to Desmos. We're trying to get used to what it means to be organized with domain and range. I'm looking for effort. That's most important to me, is your effort. I'll change the due date in Google Classroom. The board game assignment, which this is part of the board game assignment, will be due on next class. That would be on Monday is our next class. Here's the game board. This should have just been materials. So here's the assignment right here. You start here by watching a video, and then there's a question mark right here. When you click on it, it brings you to a Google form, a few questions about a previous assignment that we've already done about growth mindset. So it's just asking you some questions about that video. And then when you click on I Spy, it just tells you what I Spy is about. There's so many different ways to do I Spy. Right now, we're spying lines. I Spy Lines, but I Spy is used for every single subject from elementary school to as far as you can go in education. This just describes some things that they've done. So it's just to tell you about what is I Spy. And then when you click on this arrow right here, this is actually the Desmos that you're working on right now. This document tells you that you need to take a picture of 4 different slopes, use the Desmos calculator like we did today. Don't forget to push save. If you don't push save, you'll lose your project. That's the worst thing about Desmos. It's not like Google that saves it automatically for you. This is about restricting domain and range that we did today. Make sure you push save. So that's what that is. That's just telling you about it. Here is where you click to upload your assignment. This is what I need from you on uploading your assignment. So here, you need to click on the document. I need 2 things from you. I need the picture uploaded to the document, and I need your link to Desmos so that I can have your picture to add to a collage of Classroom, what we did for I Spy, and I have your link to go in there and shut it off and turn it on to look specifically at it. So this is where you would upload your pictures. Just put the link at the top or in a box, it don't matter, anywhere on here. I need the link to Desmos, and I need your picture uploaded. And then when you click on this, click the button to complete the game, and then it says go to the arrow. One thing you have to do, you only have to pick one. Pick any one of these to do, and then that was the entire week's assignment. Desmos, a Google form on growth mindset, and a Desmos activity. Remember which one's the best out of these ones? Marble Slides was awesome. That's my favorite. Land the Plane is okay. Match My Line's pretty good, but Marble Slides, that's the funner one. How about looking at Desmos? How would I do that link? Like, if you guys go to Google Classroom right now, why don't we do this? Go to Google Classroom and click on the linear function board so that you have it. Maybe you already have a document. I know some of you guys do. I'm looking for everybody to get to this document right here where you're going to, where is it? This document right here. Upload your picture to share with classmates. So go to Google Classroom, click on the board, and we want to go to where you're turning in your assignment right here. So Google Classroom, click on the linear function board, click on the pad and pencil, and that will bring you to this page. We're going to have that page open and your Desmos page. This is how you share your graph. At the top, you got the arrow, share graph. And we are going to copy the link. Links, let's see, where do you guys find them? Insert. You want to insert on your document. That is how I would insert my image. I'd be uploading that from my computer or from my drive. For you guys, it's most likely your drive that you'd be importing an image. So all you have to do is Control V and hit enter. This project, the game board, is due next class Monday. Gives you some extra time. So the only assignments you had this week was to get your notes into your notebook, which we've done, and to do the game board. That means a Google form on growth mindset, Desmos, and then one Desmos activity at the end. And that's it for class.